Hi guys, welcome back to Full Stack Investing. This is just going to be a short one, a brief video about one of my key investments, my most speculative investment, ADURO Clean Technologies. ADURO is effectively a plastic recycling company, which is a lot more exciting than it sounds. It has a unique patented technology called hydrochemolytic technology, which can take plastic and at low temperatures break it down into its molecular components. So we're not talking about recycling plastic in the sense of reusing the same plastic spoon or compacting plastic and reforging it into some other sort of crap product. No, we're breaking it down into its molecular components and regenerating from dirty collections of recycled waste, naphtha, and other high value chemical products, which can then be used again to make whatever you could imagine. And so, yeah, this is potentially a transformative technology because plastic recycling has been stuck for the last couple of decades with inefficient high temperature processes like pyrolysis, which produce a lot of side products that you don't want. Doesn't often work, a lot of these recycling technologies, with messy or diverse inputs of plastics, whereas the data from the pilot plant from ADURO shows that they can basically take anything you give them and it will work. They have data from steam cracker plants, which normally you would worry about breaking the plant if you just give them a crappy input. But ADURO's technology can deal with that really handily, and they got good data from that. And the potential valuation here, currently ADURO is a small cap company which is valued as if it has nothing behind it, even though it has this data and the patents and a financialization and commercialization rather process well underway, plants being built, leases being discussed, and companies being teamed up with. It's valued at 400 million, essentially peanuts. And so my investing thesis with ADURO is that as soon as they have a legitimate commercial output, once we finally get that data through where it's like, we're doing it, look, here, we're making money, suddenly there'll be this vast re-rating into 4 billion and then 40 billion and potentially beyond if it continues to scale, which if it works, it should scale. It doesn't rely on some kind of being subsidized by the government or something. It should just be profitable upfront and scalable. So I see this as a kind of 10 to 100x opportunity over the next 10 to 20 years, which just requires some patience. I think that there's enough data behind it if you go and look into it to convince yourself that this probably will work and it's not just pie in the sky. And I think the opportunity is created by the market wanting to see the actual income before they start to invest in it as if it is going to be an income generating company. So that's the asymmetric upside. It's not something I'd put my whole net worth into or anywhere close to a majority. I'd say I have about just under 10% of what I have in this company. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it could be life changing, but it's going to require patience. There will be volatility along the way. And I'm going to keep my eye and my ear paying close attention on the company to make sure that all the signs continue to be positive. There's no worrying signs for a lack of scalability or expect profitability. If I ever find anything like that, I will, of course, sell out of my position. Currently, I'm up around 30% overall, but that's largely just, fluctuations in hype in the status quo. The market hasn't re-rated the company, accounting for the positive test data that it's put out or its commercialization plans. That could happen at any point, but it hasn't happened yet. And based on that, I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. I think it could be a couple of years yet. I'll be reporting back with updates as ADURO continues to put out press releases. There's a lot to talk about. They even have sort of secondary revenue stream patent discussions coming in about upgrading highly paraffinic oils and so on. But that's a discussion for another day. But yeah, that's my investing thesis for ADURO. I know there's lots of ADURO fans out there, so drop in the comments if you have your own additional things for me to think about with ADURO, or maybe some risks that you would flag with the company. I'm very happy to hear it. I base everything on the evidence, and I'm always willing to change my mind. Not financial advice, this is just what I'm doing. And yeah, we'll see how ADURO gets on. See you guys next time.